The clock on the office wall read 5:47 p.m., but Ifeanyi knew he wouldn't be leaving anytime soon. The deadline for the project proposal loomed over him like a death sentence, and his manager had made it clear. Either the proposal was perfect or his job was on the line.
Hey there, and welcome to Freezy Stories. Get ready for another amazing story that will keep you hooked from start to finish. If you love great storytelling, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. And if you enjoy this video, show us some love by liking, commenting, and sharing. It really helps our channel grow. Now, let's dive into today's story.
The clock on the office wall read 5:47 p.m., but Ifeanyi knew he wouldn't be leaving anytime soon. The deadline for the project proposal loomed over him like a death sentence, and his manager had made it clear. Either the proposal was perfect or his job was on the line. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, but his mind was elsewhere. His mother's most recent test results lay folded in his drawer. The words "condition worsening, immediate treatment advised" burned into his brain. He had read that line over and over again, hoping that somehow, if he blinked hard enough, the letters would rearrange themselves into something less terrifying. But they never did. He had already exhausted every option: loans, pleading with the hospital, cutting back on expenses. But what was left to cut? His bank account was already in the red. His landlord had given him a final warning about rent. And then there was Amaka. Ifeanyi clenched his jaw as his phone vibrated for the 5th time in the last hour. He didn't have to check to know who it was. "Where are you?" Amaka had texted earlier. "Don't bother coming home if it's past 8. He hadn't responded. He didn't have the energy for another fight. The coldness in her messages wasn't new. Amaka had checked out of their marriage months ago, maybe even years. Lately, he had begun to suspect there was someone else. The late-night calls she always ignored when he was in the room. The sudden interest in dressing up when she claimed to be visiting her cousin. The perfume that lingered on her clothes, one he had never bought her. He knew. He knew. But confronting her? That was another battle he didn't have the strength for. "Bro, you look like death warmed over." The voice snapped him back to reality. Ifeanyi looked up to see Kelechi lounging against his cubicle like he had all the time in the world, dressed in an expensive designer shirt, gold watch glinting under the office lights. Kelechi exuded confidence, the kind that came from knowing life had never truly punished him. Ifeanyi let out a humorless chuckle. "I feel worse." Kelechi pulled up a chair, eyeing him closely. "You're still trying to handle everything on your own, aren't you?" "What choice do I have?" Ifeanyi muttered, rubbing his temples. Kelechi shrugged. "There's always a choice." Ifeanyi sighed, running hand over his face. "I'm drowning, man. My mother's in the hospital, my landlord's breathing down my neck, and my boss is looking for an excuse to fire me." He let out a bitter laugh. "And my wife? She probably wishes I'd disappear so she can stop pretending she still cares." Kelechi didn't respond immediately. Instead, he studied Ifeanyi, his expression unreadable. Finally, he leaned in. "What if I told you there's a way to fix all of it? Just like that." He snapped his fingers. "No more financial problems, no more stress." Ifeanyi frowned. "What are you talking about?" "There's a place," Kelechi said slowly. "A market. Not like Balagan or Anitacha. Something different." Ifeanyi raised a brow. "A market?" Kelechi smirked. "A special kind of market. They don't trade in naira or dollars. They trade in something else. And if you know how to play the game, you can get everything you want." "This isn't the time for jokes, Kelechi." "I'm not joking." Kelechi's voice was serious now. "Look at me, Ifeanyi. Do I look like someone who struggles? Have I ever worried about money?" Ifeanyi couldn't deny it. Kelechi had always seemed untouched by life's hardships. but he had always assumed it was family money or smart investments. Still, something about the way Kelechi was looking at him now made his skin prickle. "What exactly do they trade in?" Ifeanyi asked cautiously. Kelechi smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Let's just say the cost is negotiable." A strange unease settled in Ifeanyi's stomach, but desperation clawed at his chest. "I don't have time for riddles," Ifeanyi snapped. "My mother is sick, my job is on the line, and my marriage, it's already in the gutter. I don't care about some mysterious market unless you're telling me they can." "They can," Kelechi cut in. "They can fix all of it." Ifeanyi's breath hitched. "What?" "Meet me tonight," Kelechi said, standing up. "I'll take you there. Then you can decide for yourself." Ifeanyi hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to say no. But what choice did he really have? "Fine," Ifeanyi said finally, "but this better not be some scam." Kelechi chuckled. "Oh, it's real. The only question is, are you willing to pay the price?" The word sent a shiver through Ifeanyi's bones, but he pushed the feeling aside. Whatever it was, it couldn't be worse than the life he was already living, right? Ifeanyi waited at the agreed meeting point, a dimly lit alley behind an old warehouse on the outskirts of town. The city's usual noise felt distant here, replaced by an eerie stillness that sent a shiver up his spine. His mind raced with doubts. What the hell am I doing here? Kelechi had always dabbled in shady dealings, but this? A market where people didn't trade money? It sounded like something out of a horror film. A black car pulled up beside him, its engine purring softly. The tinted window rolled down, revealing Kelechi's smirking face. "Get in," he said. Ifeanyi hesitated for only a moment before opening the door and sliding into the passenger seat. Kelechi drove in silence, weaving through the city streets until they reached an area Ifeanyi didn't recognize. It was late, and most shops had closed, yet Kelechi turned down a narrow road and stopped in front of a run-down building with no signs or markings. "This is it?" Ifeanyi asked, eyeing the crumbling structure. Kelechi chuckled. "What did you expect, a neon sign that says secret market here?" Before Ifeanyi could respond, Kelechi stepped out of the car. With a deep breath, Ifeanyi followed. Kelechi led him to what looked like a rusted metal door at the side of the building. He knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more in a rhythmic pattern. A small slot slid open, revealing a pair of sharp, scrutinizing eyes. Kelechi tilted his head. "New guest," he said simply. The slot closed. A moment later, the heavy door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. Ifeanyi swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed at him to turn around and leave. But then he thought about his mother's hospital bed, his dwindling bank account, the way Amaka barely looked at him anymore. He clenched his fists and stepped inside. The market of no return. The air changed as they descended. A strange scent, somewhere between incense and something metallic, filled Ifeanyi's nostrils. The passage widened, revealing a vast underground chamber lit by flickering lanterns and neon symbols that pulsed in an unnatural rhythm. Ifeanyi's breath caught in his throat. This wasn't some ordinary black market. Merchants sat behind elaborate stalls, their goods displayed like treasure. But the items weren't normal. Stacks of money, glowing vials, ancient-looking artifacts, and even photographs of people, some smiling, some terrified. A man in a velvet coat whispered to a desperate-looking woman, pointing to a jar filled with shimmering liquid. She nodded quickly, and he pressed a finger to her forehead. Instantly, her gray hairs darkened, her wrinkles smoothed, and she gasped, touching her now youthful skin. Ifeanyi took a shaky step back. What the hell was this place? Kelechi placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "Don't panic," he murmured. "This is the market of no return." Ifeanyi turned sharply. "No return?" Kelechi only smiled. A tall man in a crimson suit approached them. His skin was smooth, almost too perfect, and his piercing golden eyes seemed to look straight into Ifani's soul. "Ah, a new buyer," the man said, his voice silky smooth. "Welcome, Mr. Ifani." Ifani stiffened. "How do you know my name?" The man's smile widened. "We know many things here, and we offer many things. Success, wealth, love, power, health, whatever your heart desires." Ifani's mouth felt dry. His eyes flickered toward a stall where a merchant was counting stacks of fresh Naira notes. Kelechi nudged him. "Think about it, bro. That promotion you've been chasing, done. Your mother's hospital bills, gone. Your wife?" He smirked. "Maybe she'll finally remember why she married you." The words hit Ifani like a punch to the gut. His mother, his job, his marriage, everything was falling apart. He hesitated. "What's the cost?" The man in the crimson suit chuckled. "Oh, nothing so crude as money." He lifted a parchment from his sleeve, unfolding it with a flourish. A contract. Ifani stared at the page. His name was already written at the top. "We deal in time," the man said smoothly. "A year for a raise, 5 years for financial freedom, 10 years," he gestured toward a stall where a wealthy-looking man laughed, surrounded by beautiful women, "for a life of ease and luxury." Ifani's heart pounded. The words blurred together as he skimmed the contract. "How much do I need to—" He swallowed hard. Kelechi clapped him on the back. "Just sign, bro. You'll barely feel it." His mother's frail face flashed through his mind. The night spent arguing with Amaka. His manager's disappointed stare. What did 10 years matter if he could finally live? Before he could talk himself out of it, he grabbed the golden quill and scrawled his signature across the page. The ink shimmered. A sharp pain shot through his chest, like something had been ripped from inside him. Ifani gasped, clutching his chest, his knees buckling. Kelechi caught him, laughing. "Relax, bro. It's done." Ifani blinked. Something felt different. Lighter. His phone buzzed. A message from his boss. "Ifani, great news. Your promotion has been approved. We'll discuss the details in the morning." His breath hitched. Another buzz. His bank app showed a sudden deposit, enough to cover his mother's hospital bills. Then a third message, from Amaka. "Babe, I miss you. Can we talk?" He stared at the screen, his pulse racing. It worked. It actually worked. He turned to Kelechi, shock and excitement swirling in his chest. But Kelechi was no longer smiling. And the man in the crimson suit? He was watching Ifani, with a knowing glint in his golden eyes.
Ifeani woke up the next morning to the sound of his phone buzzing incessantly. Groggy, he rubbed his eyes and reached for it. Manager Felix. "Congratulations, Ifeani. You've been promoted to senior project manager. Your new office is ready. Report to HR first thing." His breath hitched. It wasn't a dream. Still in disbelief, he scrolled through his banking app. The numbers had changed. His account balance had more than doubled. A fresh deposit, large enough to clear his mother's hospital bills and still leave him comfortable. His phone buzzed again. Amaka. "Good morning, love. I made breakfast. Let's eat together before work. I miss us." Ifeani sat up too fast, his heart pounding. Amaka? Cooking for him? For months, their marriage had been a battlefield of silent dinners, cold shoulders, and late-night texts she claimed were just from work. And now she missed them? He swung his legs off the bed, feeling lighter than he had in months. For the first time in a long time, it felt like the world had shifted in his favor. Everything was perfect, or so he thought. He stepped into the kitchen, the scent of eggs and plantain filling the air. Amaka stood by the counter, humming softly, a tune she hadn't sung in years. She turned, flashing him a smile. "I made your favorite." Ifeani studied her, waiting for something to snap him back to reality, for her usual distant tone, for the resentment in her eyes. But there was nothing. She placed the plate before him, even pouring his tea the way he liked it. As he ate, Amaka placed a gentle hand on his. Ifeani, I've been thinking, maybe we should take a trip. Just the two of us. Rekindle things. Ifeani almost choked on his tea. His wife, the woman who barely acknowledged his presence, wanted to go on a romantic getaway? His mind reeled, flashing back to the contract, to the ink that shimmered as he signed away 10 years of his life. But was this really so bad? His career was soaring. His mother was recovering. His marriage was somehow being salvaged. It had cost him 10 years. Wasn't that worth it? That night, as he lay in bed, exhaustion finally catching up to him, something shifted in the room. The temperature dropped. A low hum filled the air, like static from a radio, though nothing was turned on. Ifeani's eyes snapped open. In the corner of the bedroom, a shadow flickered just for a second. His pulse spiked. He sat up, squinting into the dim light. Nothing. Maybe it was his imagination. He exhaled and turned to Amaka, who was fast asleep, her breathing soft and even. But as he lay back down, closing his eyes, he heard it. A whisper. Not in his ears, in his mind. 10 years. Tick, tick. His eyes flew open again, his skin prickling. Had he imagined it? He reached for his phone, checking the time. 3:33. He shook his head. He was just overthinking. The stress of yesterday was messing with him. Still, as he turned on his side and pulled the blanket up, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. Over the next few days, Ifeani's new reality cemented itself. His first day in his new office came with more perks than he expected. A spacious workspace, a corner view, and colleagues suddenly treating him with newfound respect. His mother, once frail and weak, was now walking without assistance, her doctors calling her recovery nothing short of a miracle. And Amaka, she greeted him with kisses, cooked his meals, and even deleted her whole social media accounts, saying she wanted to focus on their marriage. It was everything he had wanted. So why did it feel so wrong? The flickering shadows, the whispers in empty rooms, the sensation of eyes on his back when no one was there. At first, Ifeani chalked it up to paranoia. Maybe his mind was struggling to accept how fast things had changed. But then the incidents became harder to ignore. One night, as he worked late in his office, the power flickered. The lights dimmed, then came back on. In the glass reflection of his window, he saw it. A tall, thin figure, standing behind him. His pulse spiked. He sat up, squinting into the dim light. Nothing. His breath came in sharp gasps. He grabbed his things and left, ignoring the way the air felt thick and heavy, like something unseen had just exhaled. The next day, Kelechi showed up at his office unannounced. He hadn't seen him since the night of the deal. Kelechi leaned against the doorframe, grinning. "How's the good life treating you?" Ifeani studied him, suddenly feeling off. For the first time he had known him, he noticed how pale Kelechi looked, like something had drained the color from his skin. "You knew, didn't you?" Ifeani said, voice low. Kelechi grinned, faltered. "Knew what?" Ifeani pushed back from his desk. That this wasn't just some easy deal, that there was something else. Kelechi stiffened. The air felt colder. For the first time since he had known him, Kelechi looked afraid. "Forget about that," Kelechi said, voice hoarse. "Just enjoy what you have." And then he was gone. Ifeani watched him leave, his chest tight with unease. Something wasn't right. And whatever it wasn't over.
Hey, Freezy Stories family. We're so glad you stopped by to watch. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us grow and keeps us motivated to bring you even more incredible stories. Thank you for being part of our journey. See you in the next one.